Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to EA Tetragrammaton, where we are playing This is turn 50. Let's jump into things. Alright, so we've got a couple of things going on. This is probably going to be a little bit of a slow turn. Again, we are building up to critical mass in dealing with Yomi, although we're going to talk about some specifics on that, because that might not take as long as we had anticipated. Probably could have already done some stuff, but being a little cautious. Anyways, let's go through everything, and then we'll talk about some of the bigger plays that have been happening on the world stage. So we've got construction 5 completed. We are on our way to construction 6. We will not hit it this turn, but we will hit it next turn. We've done an augury, and we were successful with a magma pit, which is a fire and earth. This is pretty nice. Definitely appreciate the additional earth income. The additional fire income at this point is kind of interesting. We continue to find fire income, which is cool. I just don't know what the fuck we're gonna do with it. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. We cast Herd of Buffaloes. We cast Dark Knowledge and actually found, this is our last Dark Knowledge, by the way, and we found an enchanted tomb. So one more death gem, bringing our total up to 14 per month, which is pretty decent. Pretty damn decent. Yeah. We captured 5 blood slaves, and then as you can see, we lost Goat to Kailasa, to the AI, which is unfortunate. That does mean we are not close enough to our goal of 50 blood slaves in order to empower someone, but it's something that we'll keep an eye on. We'll see how it goes. Got an unexpected event in White Peaks. People are starting to worship false pretenders in the secrecy of their home, so we lose some dominion. An unexpected event in Wood of Many Paths, where we got some gold, so that's actually really appreciated. We discovered the false prophets in Fever Fens, so that's good. And then we discovered a scout from Relay in Fever Fens as well. So, very interesting. Okay, so that is it for the turn. And as you can see, we don't really have a whole lot of movements going on because, like I said, we are gearing up towards a critical mass. We're moving NC2 back to Perenna. We are moving NC5 to Perenna as well, along with all of these units. And then we've got a whole bunch of other stuff going on, but it's all infrastructure or forging or ritually casting. Okay, so let's talk about the things that we're doing there. We are starting a city palisades in Ctesiphon. This is a huge investment. Keep in mind, for your initial building is incredibly expensive. It is 750 for a palisades. Super pricey. But we've talked about this a little bit. I think getting some infrastructure up in a couple of key locations is going to be really important, because we are not projecting very much in the way of our dominion. We need temples to do that. We need guarded temples, though, because we don't make enough money for it to be that we just do willy-nilly and then lose. Also, though, establishing infrastructure in places like Kunaral is going to increase the worth of the province. Establishing infrastructure in a place like Ctesiphon is going to make us more efficient with recruitment of things like crystal sorceresses, and even potentially go the route of utilizing Pegasus riders, which could be cool. And then maybe, you know, some place like Bell or Tenaria or something like that are possibilities. But these two are probably the ones that we're most interested in initially. Okay. So that is where a lot of our money went this turn. So recruitment-wise, all we're able to do is a Mushushu, and then we're doing 3 galas, one in Kohnberg, one in and one in Perenna. We're doing galas partially because we want to continue to uptick our research speed. Our research speed with all of our mages researching, our research speed is close to 1,000 right now. Obviously, we have a lot of mages forging and ritually casting. Well, we don't have that many ritually casting, but we have a lot forging, so that's part of why it dips so much. But we want to compensate for that, and we want to make sure as we continue to produce things like owl quills and then skull mentors, that we have plenty of bodies on whom to put those, and those are typically going to be our galas, right? Galas are very cheap, very efficient researchers, especially when you're putting things like owl quills or skull mentors. We are potentially fast approaching the point to where we stop the production of owl quills, okay? Which would be probably a good thing, because that will allow us to accrue some air gems. Unfortunately, we were very unlucky with our air, just like we were very unlucky with our astral. So once we start, because we're probably going to flip over towards producing lightless lanterns, once we hit conjuration or construction 6 in 2 turns. And once we do that, we will probably stop producing owl quills, because it's just not as efficient a usage of gems. So we want to store those gems and try to use them for other things, basically. Okay? So what else is happening? We're continuing to forge dwarven hammers. We're getting to the point to where we can only do a dwarven hammer once every other turn or so. We will probably not stick at that pace. We'll probably only make another hammer or 2 before we basically hold off on hammers. We are continuing to produce Boots of the Messenger. The main goal there being an attempt to outfit our entire communion with Boots of the Messenger. Okay? And I don't know that that's actually what we're going to end up doing. We might turn around and take those Boots of the Messenger and put them on all of our Ishibs or all of our air Gudus or whatever, right? It's just a objective goal, right? Producing Boots of the Messenger is efficient power, so we're just producing them for right now. We'll see how we actually want to utilize them in the long run. We are oh right, no, we've got these 2 popping out next turn. Over here. We are moving our herd of buffalo casting into Perenna itself, and we're actually kind of boosting up the 2 individuals that are doing it. So, herd of buffaloes only takes 2 nature to cast, and you get an additional buffalo for each level after the requirements, right? So with these 2 individuals casting with the thistle maces, etc., we should be getting an additional 3, 2, so an additional 5. So basically, we're spending 20 gems to get 15 buffalo, which is pretty good. You take a look at the buffalo real quick. Again, these guys are very meaty, right? Gonna take things like mass regeneration very well. Gonna take protection buffs very well, etc. Pretty cool. They are tramplers. We can do things like army of giants on them to make them even bigger tramplers. And even if we don't use them for something like that, they're still 4.8 siege strength, which isn't something that we necessarily worry about too terribly much, like siege strength, but having a contingent of 30 or 40 of them can break off and pop a fort in a single turn, etc. So they're pretty useful. I think they're interesting. What else do we got? So that's going on. We are casting some more arcane probing, basically going down to 0 pearls to do some more arcane probing. Just hoping that we're going to get lucky and get... Basically, the goal is just to get 3 astral pearls per month. That's all we want. 3 astral pearls per month. We've got 1 with the statue of the sitting god, and we've got 1 with the crystal garden. We've done the majority of our lands. I think we only have like 1 or 2 locations. So we've got Tessaphon, and then Rim Mountains and White Peaks. Those are the only things under 3, basically. So fingers crossed. I don't know. We'll see. Other than that, we're doing some more endless bags of wine forging because just so that we're careful and we don't run into supply issues. But for the most part, that's it for this particular turn. We are continuing to hold. I really, so let's talk about some of the global scale things. Yomi did not take a turn again. I am relatively positive that had I moved as soon as I got into Perina 2 turns ago, had I just moved as soon as I hit Alteration 7 and got Fog Warriors, the ability to do Fog Warriors and the ability to do Mass Protection, I'm relatively positive that had I just gone, we probably would have obliterated that army. But I ran into so many scenarios where I was relatively positive that we were going to be fine that it has probably made me overly cautious. And now at this point, I feel like we have waited long enough that we might as well wait the next 2 turns. Again, this will change if Yomi moves or if something changes with Lanka's scenario. But as it is, I'm okay with Lanka dealing with the majority of this. And if Yomi is just staling, then taking 3 or 4 more turns and then moving on this army is going to result in a much better victory for me than just trying to do it now. So that is basically to say that we're at the point where we might as well just wait. What we're going to do is we won't have Construction 6 this turn. So on turn 51, we won't have it. On turn 52, we will have it. We will have Construction 6. And what we will likely do is that turn, we will immediately turn and all of our Ishibs will make water bracelets. With all of the Dwarven hammers that we have been utilizing, we'll make a bunch of water bracelets. And then, so that will be turn 53, we will have a bunch of water bracelets, and then we'll immediately start moving. Because I think having a bunch of Ishibs, and probably what we're gonna do next turn is probably Ishib up in all of these locations as well, right? Because I think sending, close to 10. How many do we have right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, 7 here, 8 here. We've got 8 right now, 9 here, 9. So if we sent like 10 or 12, and most, if not all of them, probably what we'll do is we'll send however many we can afford to have water bracelets for. Having that many Ishibs be able to do ice elementals at the start of a fight is probably going to be pretty good. So we'll see, though. That might actually end up being a route that I am not super interested in, depending on what else I bring to the mix. And that may be bringing things like foul vapors, which I think is probably the easiest way to go ahead and wipe this army. But yeah. Other things on the world stage. Let's talk about those. Pan, still in conflict with Kailasa, the AI Kailasa, is finally starting to actually finish off AI Kailasa. I think that AI Kailasa is still going to have quite a bit of fight left, but I think we're probably, instead of 15 turns ago, where it was like, oh, they can fight for a very long time, we're probably closer to the end. And being that I wouldn't give AI Kailasa much more than maybe 10 turns or so against Pan at this time. Hinnom and Mictlan are still very much at war with Pan, but not really making a whole lot of gains territorially. They did, however, have a pretty good route this turn by getting rid of Gift of Health. So, no idea how much Gift of Health went up as, but it did get dispelled. And to my knowledge, I believe that Hinnom did this, and I believe Mictlan plans on either stealing or dispelling Stellar Focus soon. So that's cool. That's pretty interesting. We are definitely considering Gift of Health ourselves. We've already kind of talked about this a little bit, right? Gift of Health would be a great option for us. We're heading up towards enchantment anyways, enchantment 8 specifically for mass regeneration, although I think enchantment 7 is a very good goal for us for Serpent's Blessing, right? Yeah, that's going to take us a little bit of time, and I think the main focus of getting to Construction 6 and utilizing Construction 6 to power our way forward via Lightless Lanterns and now with Skull Mentors, I think is going to be a very big deal. To the point to where I'm considering, I don't know, I would like to continue to gain on the death side of things, so I might not burn our death gems down. But fire gems might end up being a different situation. We'll see. Anyways, I think that is probably going to be it for this particular turn. So, I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.